Hi, I'm Katie Kempner, and we're here at the Huffington Post live stage during Advertising Week. And in addition to my role at CPB, I also have an online digital series which is conversations with remarkable working women balancing busy lives. You can go check it out at katiekempner-perspectives.com. I also do a bunch of live ones here for the Huffington Post in Advertising Week, and I am very lucky to have a return guest because I got to interview her during Advertising Week Europe, Kathleen Saxton from the Lighthouse Company CEO.
Hey,
Hi,
nice
how
to see
are
you
you?
again. I'm
Nice
very
to see
good,
you.
thank you.
So tell me a little bit about about the Lighthouse Company and what you do.
So Lighthouse Company is about 4 years old in London, and we manage chief execs and kind of senior level placements and searches within London marketplace, right across technology, media, advertising, creative, right across the piece. And about a year or so ago, we launched in New York, so we have a little office down in Madison Square Gardens. And again, we're just building our practice to kind of really try to look after and represent the most senior people in the business. And I think in time, we'd like to kind of flip the model from being headhunters more to talent agent. I think we're heading in that direction with the people that we look after.
So what would that entail, talent agent?
That would entail that maybe an individual who's already running an agency and is often called by people to do speeches or to do non-for-profit or even to change jobs and become the CEO of another company will maybe use us as the central focus to say, listen, they look after me and my affairs. A little bit like a sports agent or a talent agent in the traditional entertainment space. But I think that at a very senior level in technology businesses and agencies, fantastic leadership talent is becoming really sparse. So you have to, when you have an amazing person, they are often in great demand. So helping them manage that and negotiate their deals and that kind of stuff is a lot of what we do in London. So we're trying to translate that model over here to New York.
So, and do you think it's even sparser with women versus men?
Yes, we're often asked, and it's in London certainly it's an illegal question, but I definitely get asked off the record to find a woman. I take a brief for a particular position, and at the end of the time with the client, they'll say to me, if it was a woman, that would be amazing. I think the world has absolutely woken up to the fact that there should be total equality within that, and actually women bring a unique set of skills often to the board. However, I think that it becomes increasingly difficult for us to find at the very senior level, and particularly at the commercial roles as well. The general management roles is getting better. There's more of them to find and choose between. But strong commercial directors or chief revenue officers in New York, very sort of senior females. There are some amazing ones like Nada and Carolyn Everson, etc. But I think they are the exceptions. There aren't as many as you would hope. And in London, we certainly have that issue too. So we're willing on the commercial women to come up and through the ranks.
So at the risk of, asking a question that's asked all the time, why don't you think there are more women in these roles?
I think there's two things, and I think it's a hot topic and it's also a contentious issue at the same time.
Yeah.
I think what Cheryl's done with her Lean In, and there are very many organisations around the world. We have Wackle in London, you have Girls Lounge over here, and various other things. I think that there's two things. One, the women are the ones that are actually going to give birth to these gorgeous babies, and I think when you go through that in your life, as I have done many years ago, for a period of time, you're trying to assimilate a whole new world of managing yourself as a mother and a professional and a partner and everything else that you are, sister and daughter and all those things. I also think that the world has got faster and tougher. We're expected to do lots more faster. And to that degree, often it becomes overwhelming for some people at some point, male and female. But I think until we change legislation to allow potentially maternity leave to be taken by either partner, which we have in Norway and some certain international European countries already, I think that the majority of that care still falls to the female. And I think during that time, some of them decide to take themselves out completely from the workforce, to never return, and others come back and find that they can't quite get back to the level that they were, or indeed that to go to that extra level requires them to sacrifice a huge amount of their time with their children, and it's a very, very difficult and very personal choice.
And it's a tricky conundrum, right? Because there's no answer for everybody. It's different for each person, and I know in your case, with your son, you have kind of an interesting arrangement with your ex-husband. I don't know if you'd like to.
I do.
Tell us.
So,
which I already know. Tell us.
I have two children. I have Ned, who's 16, and Nancy, who's nearly 15. And I had them quite young, but they have a most amazing father. And we broke up when they were very young. They were sort of 4 or 5, but we've remained great friends. However, he chose to be a house husband. So when I was pregnant with Ned, His decision was that one of us should be at home. That was his belief and that was his principle. And so he decided to stay at home and has, for all intents and purposes, brought the children up during the kind of Monday to Friday time throughout their lives. And it's been amazing for the children to do that and to have that around them. And he has a great family support too, as do I. But I think what it also allowed was for me to kind of push forward in my career, and I certainly was able to do some things that maybe some of my other female counterparts couldn't do. I could fly to another country and do an extra meeting. I could be out 3 nights a week if I needed to be at client functions. And if I was working on a pitch and I had to be there till 1 a.m, I could do that. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I was able to do it. So I think having someone, Adrian is an amazing father and an amazing individual. He's very calm, relaxed, has a very strong sense of self-esteem. And I think for him, he didn't need to go and do anything crazy. He was very happy to be at home doing a very important job, which is bringing up the children. And that remains to this day. So I feel very lucky and fortunate in that. I think there is a rise of house husbands going on. I've met lots of people actually during Ab Week this week that have talked about having a partner who is either at home full time or certainly completely shares the care by leaving, at 5 or 6 of an evening to get back to the children. And I think in certainly our father's generation that didn't exist. So it's definitely changing and definitely moving, but it remains a conundrum. I feel that I was one of the blessed ones.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's something to really think about. Now, we haven't had a long enough time to talk, but I do want to ask you one more question before we're finished, which is, if you have one piece of advice for younger people here today, starting out, walking around Adweek, looking maybe to make a change, what would it be?
I used to say that it had to be about authenticity, and I still feel that, but I think women are so much more empowered now that the authenticity is actually coming through. It's becoming quite a natural trait, which is brilliant. So what I would say now is be braver. Never ever think you can't do something. Never take the easier route or the slightly less painful route, because if you can see something twinkling over here that you really want to do and you're not quite sure if you're able to do it, the chances are if you try, you will achieve it. So just be braver, because wonderful things come from that.
Very inspiring. And as always, it's such a pleasure to see you.
You too, always you too.
And thank you so much. Please check back again in a little while for more episodes of Perspectives. Thank you.